For the latest on growing hostilities in the Middle East and the possibility of US entry into the conflict. And of course, that on-again, off-again meeting between the US President and our Prime Minister. I'm joined now by the foreign editor at The Australian, Greg Sheridan. Greg, thank you for your time. I want to start tonight in the Middle East. Donald Trump, as we know, is back in the White House. We've seen imagery of him in and around the Situation Room. He's called on Iran to issue an unconditional surrender. He's gone onto social media and says, look, we know where the Ayatollah is. You're an easy target. Give it up. From what I've read on open sources, the Iranians are already moving to ensure that if the Ayatollah is removed, there's been enough spread of power amongst the Guard that they can keep up the attacks on Israel. So how serious do you see this threat from Donald Trump?
Oh, look, I think it would be very foolish to kill the Ayatollah. That would just make him a martyr of Islam for all time. I think that's quite stupid and very strange remarks from Trump, as so many remarks of Trump's are. You didn't even talk about that in World War II, killing the opposition's head of government. But the more important stuff is that Trump is plainly moving all the logistics into place to join Israel in the battle if he wants to. That doesn't mean the decision is made, because Trump has never decided to do something until it happens. The key thing is that Israel, either with the US or alone, needs to destroy all or almost all of Iran's nuclear program. Now, everybody says that Israel can't get the Fordo nuclear facility because it's 60 or 80 metres underground on the side of a mountain without American bunker busters, this huge 30,000-pound bomb, and only American planes can carry it. So I think there's a very strong case that Trump should engage at least in that one mission with the Israelis. Whether he would engage in a broader mission is very unclear, and this might still all, be reversed right at the last minute. He might, if the Iranians were a bit smarter than they are, they should just agree to give up all their nuclear weapons and then not do it, or all their nuclear programs rather, and then just not do it. I saw North Korea do that about 12 times on the road to nuclear weapons, because it's very hard for democracies like Israel and the United States to get to this state of warfare.
Yeah, that's a good point, because we in the West can't get to the point where we are now, where we're inside of taking out these nuclear facilities. And let's put to one side that they might say, well, we'll give it up. But if they don't, we can't get to this point and then somehow walk away and only then wait for a few more months to things all start up again. And we have this debate about taking out the nuclear capability of Iran. I mean, I think we're past that now, aren't we?
Well, I think so. I think Israel will continue this operation until it feels that it has done everything it can to destroy Iran's nuclear capabilities and its ballistic missile capabilities and much of its military capabilities generally. The question is whether they can do it without the United States. Trump seems to be on the very brink of doing it. Again, without being a bore about this North Korean parallel, Bill Clinton, of all people, was on the brink of taking military action against North Korea before they had nuclear weapons, and Jimmy Carter went to Pyongyang on an unscheduled, unapproved visit and sort of killed the moment. As a result, Clinton didn't take action, and as a result, North Korea now has dozens and dozens of nuclear weapons and will soon have missiles which can reach the United States. So I agree with you, Peter. I think Israel will just go ahead until the mission is completed. But they could do the mission much more effectively if the Americans do it with them. And it would have much greater legitimacy then, and it would be harder for anyone to describe this as a pariah action. Even our own lame government is kind of falling in behind Israel on this, largely because of the Americans, I think.
Well, it feels pretty reluctant today. I mean, yes, there's been some tougher comments from Penny Wong, but I mean, she was just urging restraint for a number of days. And I look around the world at what other leaders are saying, and I've got something on the screen to come up in relation to the German Chancellor. I mean, he is making the point, you and I would get this, Australians watching tonight would get this, but he says that this is dirty work that Israel is doing is for all of us. I mean, we're not hearing enough of that from the Australians. Whenever the word Israel is mixed up, even in this case with Donald Trump, Israel is still seen to be doing something that is on the edges or outside international law. But I mean, I see this as a just war for humanity.
Yeah, so I think the Albanese government rhetoric has been a little stronger than usual. I'd agree with you, it's still too weak, but all in pursuit of this kind of pathetic effort of Albanese to get an appointment with Trump, which he hasn't been able to do. So Richard Marles, for the first time ever, said if the Americans go to war with China, Australia will be there with America. Well, blow me down, where did that come from? He sounds just like Peta Credlin. That's amazing. So what an amazing coincidence. This is a couple of days before his boss Albanese hopes to get an appointment with Trump. And Penny Wong, all of a sudden, yeah, she is urging de-escalation, but all of a sudden she's saying the Iranian nuclear program is a terrible threat and Israel has a right to defend itself and all the rest of it. But this has been a kind of a Keystone Cops foreign trip by Albanese. I enjoyed your earlier discussion, but I truly hope he goes to NATO because, apart from anything else, if he shows up at NATO, everyone at NATO is pledging to spend 3.5% of GDP on defence. And if he's there saying we're the greatest ally the Americans have ever had and we're a major partner of NATO and so forth, but by the way, we're not going to meet the NATO standard of defence spending for any American ally. And meanwhile, he still has no agenda with Trump. He's just going there to whine about tariffs and beg Trump to promise that he'll give him AUKUS subs long after Trump has gone from office. I mean, this decision about the AUKUS subs doesn't happen until a long time after Trump is gone. So I hope for our national good that Albanese goes there because he may well be shamed into good policy, having exhausted all the other alternatives.
A point very well made, Greg Sheridan. That is very, very good. A bit of public hectoring might help him along the way to get to that 3%. We'll see. Thank you, Greg.